music. Welcome to our weekly jam session at our new time at 4 p.m. Pacific. I welcome you, and if this is your first time joining, very glad to have you along. What we do at these jam sessions is I teach a mini lesson on improvising at the piano. This is a active participation kind of lesson, so make sure you're watching me at your piano so you can try playing along. We're going to make music together today. And if you've come to these in the past, welcome back. So glad to have you again. We've had some people joining us for months now. We started this way back at the start of COVID land, I think in March, and been going every week since. And I think it's a great new tradition, so plan to keep on going with this. We changed our time to hopefully accommodate some people in North America who have school during the hours I was doing it before. I know that maybe this is a better time for some, maybe a worse time for others. Hopefully this works out for the maximum number of people possible. If you can't watch me live, hope you can join later. So let's dive in. Today we are going to learn about a very cool chord progression. With these 4 chords, you can rule the world of music. I'd say there are hundreds of pop songs that use just these 4 chords, often in this exact order. It's a great chord progression. Here's the C chord to F major, A minor, to G, and then you just repeat that to F, a whole song based on that. So we're going to learn how to do a very simplified version of this chord progression, and then I'll show you some tips if you want to get fancier with it. The cool thing about how I try and teach is no matter what level you're at, there's a way that you can engage right now with making music, with real music that you can hear professional pop artists use these exact chords that we're going to learn today, which is pretty cool. So at your piano, we're going to start with the left hand, because the left hand is best for playing the bass line. And your bass line is going to be determined by the name of each chord. Each of these stands for a chord, and chords are named by the root. So the root of a C chord is C. The root of an F chord is F. The root of an A minor is A. The root of a G major is G. And the root is what you would generally play with like a bass guitar, for example. So here's C. And so if you were like the bass guitarist for your pop band, you would play C for 1 measure. We're going to do 4 beats per measure. Sorry. So from C, we go down to F for 1, 2, 3, 4, up to A. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we go to G. Last of all, 1, 2, 3, 4, repeat. 1, 2, try it with me. 3, 4, down to F. 1, 2, 3, 4, up to A. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm using this really juvenile fingering just to show you. You should use like maybe your finger 1 for the C, and then finger 5 for the F, 3 for the A, and then 4 for the G. Okay, so try this with me now. Let's play this chord progression that I've got written right up here. C, F, A, G, and there's going to be 4 beats on each chord. Okay, and let's just do whole notes. Try it with me. So again, use your finger 1, 5, 3, 4. In fact, let me write that up just in case that's helpful. So you're going to use finger 1, 5, 3, 4. All right. Let's try it. Left hand, a 1, 2, ready, go. A 1, 2, 3. That's C to F. 2, 3, 4 to A. 2, 3, 4 to G. 2. Let's repeat it. And a C. 2, 3, 4 to F. 2, 3, 4 to A minor, 2, 3, 4 to G, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now you're thinking, well, that's kind of boring. Can I make that a little more exciting. Because what you were basically doing is just holding whole notes, holding the same note for 4 beats. That's called a whole note. You can jazz it up a little by turning it into quarter notes. So instead of just holding that C, you can play it 4 times, one on every beat. Like C, 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 F, 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 then A, 4 times on A, then G, 4 times on G. Try it with me. On C, go. 1, 2, on C, down to F, 2, 3, 4 to A, 2, 3, 4 to G, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you want to get even fancier, you can add in chords with your right hand. Now, real quick, crash course on chords. For this key, we're doing the key of C major, which is fortunate because it's all white keys. So you just don't even have to worry about the black keys today. So a C major chord is this. So with your right hand, and again, I'm trying to get my fingers out of the way so you can see, you should use a good fingering on this chord. Just use fingers 1, 3, 5 to play that C major chord while your left hand is playing C, 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 C. Your right hand can play that chord and just hold it. And then you're going to go to the F major chord, which is down here. Again, to play a chord, the root is at the bottom, and then you skip up, skip up. See how, there's 2 notes in between that you're skipping? So that's the F major chord. Okay, and then you go to the A minor chord when your left hand is playing A. And that's these 3 notes, A, C, E. And then you go to G major, last of all, G, B, D. Okay, now if you want to get fancy with inversions, if you've learned how to do that, if you're like in one of the higher units of the Hoffman Academy, or if you've learned it from another teacher, you know that instead of going all the way down here for the F chord, what you can do instead, whoops, I lost one of my magic notes. Instead of going all the way down there, you can just move these 2 notes up, and notice you have the same notes as an F major chord. I've just taken this 1 key, moved it down here. That's called an inversion. So you can use inversions if you've learned how to do that. If you haven't, don't worry. You can just use what's called root position, which is just C major is these 3, F major is these 3, A minor, and G. Now, if that feels overwhelming, just forget about it. It's not a big deal. You can just do that left-hand part. Okay, but putting it all together, then you can have some fun and even jazz up the rhythms a little bit. Like C. See how I kind of went back and forth? It was like dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum, do, ba, do, ba-dum, bum. You can have some fun with the rhythms. Again, if that's confusing or feels overwhelming, just stick with quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you may notice that with my left hand, I'm actually playing octaves. That's another way if you want to challenge yourself. If your hands are big enough to reach from C to C, you can go C. Sorry, you can't see that very well. So I'm playing C with my pinky and my thumb, then going down to F, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Or you can just do it with 1 finger on 1 note. Lots of ways you can do that. Okay, now, I want to give you just a minute to mess around with that. Whatever level you feel like you are at, just have some fun with this chord progression. It could be just your left hand is playing 1 note at a time, and maybe you're trying to play around with the rhythm. Or maybe you're adding in chords in the right hand, trying maybe some inversions or just doing it in root position, and then maybe trying it hands together and see what kind of rhythms you could come up with. I want to give you a minute to mess around with that on your own. This is called improvising. You're making up new patterns, new sounds, given some guidelines. Usually improvisation isn't just totally random playing. Usually there's some kind of guiding principle, a chord progression you're using, or a certain set of notes. And today, this is our guidance for the improvisation. So take just a minute and play around, experiment, improvise. It's your time. All right, I'm going to interrupt you. I'd like you to keep experimenting all of this week with this chord progression. It's a really cool chord progression, and there's a lot you can do with it. In fact, you can even mix up the order of these chords. It's hard to come up with a chord progression using these 4 chords that sounds bad. I mean, try it. You know, you can start on A minor, go to F, go to G, go to C. You know, you can almost put these in any order and it will sound cool. Try it out later on this week on your own. All right, I wanted to show you one other thing that you can do with your right hand to make kind of what would sound like a pop tune. While your left hand is playing this chord progression, your right hand can improvise in the pentatonic scale. Now, pentatonic is a little different from pentascale. Like, if you're familiar with my lessons, you know this is the C major pentascale. But a pentatonic scale is a very special kind of scale. It also has 5 notes, but it's arranged like this. Now, the way you can remember this arrangement is if you're in a group of 2 black keys, it's all of the keys around those 2 black keys. See how you're kind of hugging those 2 black keys with these 3 notes. Now, if you're in a group of 3 black keys, it's the white keys inside the 3 black keys. And then this scale can continue up the piano. So if we kept going up here, then this would be, I need one more circle, this would be a group of 3. And then if we kept going from there, here'd be another group of 2. And we can go below as well. There's another group of 2 here. So it's basically the opposite of the black keys. If you see a group of 3 black keys, it's these 2 white keys. If you see these 2 white keys, it's going to be, sorry, these 2 black keys. I do know my colors, yes. If you see these 2 black keys, it's going to be on these 3 white keys. So 3 white, 2 white, 3 white, 2 white, all the way up the piano. That's called the pentatonic scale. So just mess around with these notes for a little bit, all the way up and down the piano. Maybe try repeating notes. You'll hear that these notes are used so much in popular music. They just sound cool together. So I want you to take one more minute now on your own and just play around in the pentatonic scale. Try repeating. Try just try different patterns, and maybe you can even imagine like lyrics. Like pretend one Sunday, you know, and that was all just the pentatonic scale, you know, and I just made up a little phrase. Sitting all alone last Sunday, reading a book, when you called me. I'm just making that up. Okay, so I want you to now pretend you're a songwriter and use that pentatonic scale and just try messing around. You know, you might feel a little shy at first, but hey, no one's listening. I can't hear you. I have no secret hidden cameras in your house. So, hey, there's nothing that should hold you back from just playing around, make up some lyrics. It can be however silly. Sing about your dog, sing about what you did last night, and just have some fun noodling around with these notes. Take a minute and go for it. I'm worried I'm not broadcasting. Am I broadcasting? Okay, you guys keep practicing with your pentatonic scale. I'm going to make sure I'm actually broadcasting, not talking to myself. Hmm. Okay. Seems like I might be having some technical difficulty. This tells me that I'm streaming, but I'm actually not seeing myself on Facebook, which tells me that something has gone wrong. So forgive me, you guys keep practicing. If this is actually broadcasting, I've got to try and figure out what's going on. Dang it. Hmm. Oh. Okay. It seems I'm only broadcasting on YouTube. Oh no, something went wrong with our technology. So I guess what I'm going to do, I'm so sorry. I think I need to hop over to Facebook and fix this. So I will